So here we are in the LBJ penthouse above the studios of Fox 7, and we're talking about Texas politics this week. And joining me today are three individuals who know all about Texas politics. Brian Smith from St. Edward's University, Scott Braddock, who is the editor of Quorum Report, and political analyst Mark Wiggins. Gentlemen, thanks a lot. A lot going on right now in this week. We've had border bills, border walls, details on that. Democrats going to D.C. to talk to a vice president who won't come down to the border to talk about election laws. We had constitutional carry signed and also new abortion restriction signs. But two big issues may be overshadowing all that: ERCOT and the Juneteenth holiday. So let's start with that. Will all those big issues be overshadowed? Scott.
Rudy, there are different issues that are being targeted to different constituencies, right? So when the governor says, for example, that ERCOT and the electricity grid in Texas has never been in better shape, well, that's going to be fact checked as we go forward through the summer for sure and get into triple digit temperatures. When he's saying that, that's for the broader population in Texas. When you talk about guns and abortion and a border wall and all of that, he's talking very specifically to the GOP primary electorate in this state.
So, Brian, do all these other issues get overshadowed by ERCOT and Juneteenth?
I think Juneteenth will be a short issue because now it's on the books, and so that'll move on. ERCOT, though, like Scott was saying, every single day this summer, if ERCOT fails, we're going to hear about it. So that's an issue that can only be resolved when the fall comes. And if the grid fails, that's on the state government.
Mark, do you agree it's all ERCOT and everything else is just noise?
Well, first of all, Rudy, it's great to see the rest of the country join Texas in recognizing Juneteenth. But ERCOT, I feel like right now is the biggest story that we're actually not talking about. I do love all the memes of people online posting their thermostats and saying, come and change it. That's great. But you know as well as I do that in Texas politics, oftentimes we're distracted by the shiny objects. And ERCOT has not been a very shiny object. And frankly, I'd love to see it overshadow everything else. I'm not sure it will.
Could ERCOT overshadow the special session that's coming in dealing with the voter reform? Brian?
I think the only way ERCOT would overshadow that is if the lights went out. But right now, ERCOT's the most important thing because if our grid fails, millions of people are damaged. So the special session, when that comes on, though, ERCOT's going to be back on the agenda, and that's going to limit what else they can do.
Scott, is ERCOT a distraction from the big debate on the voter reform?
Well, I think most Texans before the winter storm in February could not have told you what ERCOT stood for or had even heard for it. That probably sounds like a stone fruit or something, ERCOT. But now people can tell you that the R should mean reliability, but there are questions about that. On the voting issue, I can't remember any time when this was true in Texas politics previously, that the fundamentals of democracy, and this is true across the country, the fundamentals of democracy are sort of on trial, both in state legislatures and the actual courts and in the court of public opinion. And this is all fallout from the way the 2020 election has been questioned over and over and over again by the ex-president, Donald Trump, falsely asserting that the election was stolen from him. Just not true. But you got to boil it down to three words. Republicans want to avenge Trump somehow.
Mark, it's going to be a special session double tap on elections. We've got the voter reform, and then we also have redistricting. Does voter reform overshadow the redistricting, and does redistricting, some weird things happen with that?
Well, the way the governor has laid it out is it sounds like we're going to have a special session on redistricting in the fall, and the special session on voting will much more likely be sometime this summer, probably at the beginning of July or so. On the ERCOT question, I agree. I don't think we're going to see any action on ERCOT unless the lights go out. It just remains to be seen how reliable the grid is once we really get into those peak summer temperatures, which we haven't even touched the surface of yet.
All right, so let's wrap up this week. Give me one word how you describe this week in Texas politics. Brian?
Border.
Mark?
Hot.
Scott?
Inadequate. $250 million for a $26 billion border wall won't work.
And there you have it, Texas politics for this week. We'll be back again next week.